comicbook.com, let me talk to you, because I am Liam Crowley and I'm standing here with the one and only Mr. LA Knight, who's competing for the men's Money in the Bank briefcase this weekend at Money in the Bank LA. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, of course. You talk about the one and only, and here you are saying the lines. Everybody around the world, it's always the same song. Yeah, let me talk to you. Whose game is it? And everybody knows it's LA Knight. But what are we talking about right now?
We're talking about Money in the Bank, and this event last year really propelled your career, I feel. That London crowd gave you such a warm reception, and Triple H at the post-show press conference acknowledged that, you didn't come out on top, but he said great things come to those who wait. I would love to know what the conversation was with Triple H backstage after that amazing reception, and also, have those great things come, or are we still waiting?
There wasn't much of a conversation. I do my best to kind of stay out of people's hair and not bother people if I don't have to. So for me, it's just kind of show up, do my thing, and if I keep coming in and keep getting those reactions and keep doing the things that I'm doing, which is sending myself to the top of the card, selling merchandise, all that kind of stuff, everybody around the world wearing the LA Knight t-shirts, the glasses, the vests, whatever it is, when those kind of things are happening, I don't need to go in and have the conversation. He sees it, the whole world sees it, and you've seen the trajectory, the ascension, the acclivity, call it what you want, of this guy, and it's going to continue here as we go into Money in the Bank, as we go into SummerSlam, as we go into Survivor Series, WrestleMania, you name it, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be at the top of it.
I've been following your career for over a decade. I watched The Hero when you were on as Sean Ricker. I saw you get signed as Slate Randall. I remember Eli Drake in TNA, obviously Max Dupree and all that, and LA Knight now here in the present day. One thing in common that all of your ring names have always had is the three syllables: Eli Drake, Max Dupree, LA Knight. Yeah. What were some of the alternate names that you were floating around when you first got signed to WWE to make sure we captured that three syllables?
There weren't a lot. Pretty much we went straight to LA Knight. It was always going to be LA something. So the Eli Drake thing happened by accident. It was just that I hadn't been talking for months. Basically, Drew was talking for me, and at some point I was like, well, I got to tell these people my name. And so I started just kind of spelling it out. And I was like, well, hell, I'll keep that. But for me, it was also just simplicity. If I got a mouthful of a name, how do people remember that? How do people chant that? How do people just keep that fresh on their mind? So if you got some garbled up mess of a name, sorry, no offense, but like it's going to be tough to latch onto that. So simplicity is key.
You mentioned Drew. Tongaloa just got signed. Maybe we get a Rising reunion at some point in the future. One final question for you. Logan Paul is in your crosshairs. Can you say one nice thing about the Maverick before we get out of here?
Sure. He looks like Glass Joe from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
There we go, Mr. LA Knight. Thanks so much for taking the time. Liam Crowley with Comic Book here with the one and only Miss Tiffany Stratton competing for the women's Money in the Bank briefcase at Money in the Bank this weekend. Tiffany, I want to start by asking, you obviously have a gymnast background. Does that help at all when preparing for a ladder match?
Oh yeah, I feel like ladder matches, a lot of times you see women doing like kind of stunts on them, and I definitely feel like my gymnastics background helps so much with ladder matches.
Do you think we could get a prettiest moonsault ever off the top of a ladder?
I think you could. I think I might pull it out tomorrow. You'll have to wait and see it.
Okay, well, let's flash forward to after the match, after you obviously win the briefcase and take it home, take it back to Friday Night SmackDown. What does Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank briefcase look like?
So I'm going to paint it pink. I'm going to rhinestone it, and I think I'm going to add an extra strap on, maybe like a fluffy one, and I'm going to carry it around like a purse.
I love that. One of your good friends, Nia Jax, obviously won the Women's Queen of the Ring tournament this year. You obviously came up just a little bit short, but I would love to know just conversations you've had with Nia after she became Queen of the Ring, and what do you think her chances are of dethroning Bayley at SummerSlam?
I think right now she is truly unstoppable. She's the irresistible force. She's undeniable. I think her chances of winning is very high. And I am very proud of her, and I'm very happy for her.
Amazing. One final question for you. Money in the Bank is such a historic match concept. We've had so many cash-ins over the years. What, in your mind, is the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in?
The greatest Money in the Bank cash-in? I feel like Liv's last year was so iconic. She won it the day of, or cashed in the day of and won it the same day. I thought that was so iconic, and I thought Carmelo's run with the briefcase was also so iconic.
Amazing. Well, good luck this weekend at Money in the Bank. Tiffany, thanks again for the time.
Thank you.
Liam Crowley of Comic Book here with the man, the myth, the legend, him himself, Mr. Carmelo Hayes. I know you're out angling me on the biceps here, so I don't want to hear anything about the height. For starters, I'm glad to see you in good health because a couple Mondays ago on Raw, someone with a similar haircut to you was laid out by the Wyatt Six. Do you know anything about that?
Bro, so I get a DM and some kid's like, hey man, everybody thinks I'm you. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, what's this kid talking about? And I looked and it was I don't know, it was just like spoiling it, whatever, he's alive. It was it was the extra who had the braids like me, and I was sitting at home watching, and even I said to my girl, I said, dang, that looks like me. I said, I hope they're not trying to do that on purpose and I'm spoiling it for everybody. I tell everybody, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm at home chilling.
Well, yeah. It's glad to see you in good health. You got a lot of stuff going for you into this match, including a little bit of ruthless aggression. You talked about this recently in an interview where they said you were saying that backstage it was kind of catching people by surprise. I know you got to chop it up with Cena when you were down in NXT. What was his reaction to the ruthless aggression promo?
I remember, I don't know if you watched it live or I doubt it, but I mentioned it to him and he kind of just laughed and he said, how'd it work out for you? And I said, people hated it. And he goes, they hated it too when I did it.
That's too good. You and Bron Breaker, I feel like, are two guys that are going to be linked together forever because of what you did in NXT, both high draft picks going into this year on the WWE draft. Yeah. Where do you foresee yourself and Bron crossing paths again next?
Yeah, shoot. I'd love to get back in the ring with Bron. I'm loving everything that he's doing. He's killing it. Bron's a stud. And him and I were both destined for greatness. And, I'm super proud of what we were able to do in NXT and just being able to put it on our back. So, anything, I'd love to get into a partnership with him on something of two guys that really knew what it takes to get from, the ground up and make it to this level and, both coming up around the same time. But Bron's the man and the future is ours.
One final question for you. The Boston Celtics are up for sale for $5 billion. Yeah. If you become Mr. Money in the Bank, you're going to cash in on Wick Grossbeck and take ownership of the Boston Celtics?
Dude, that's hilarious. I'm going to start saying that if people start asking me because I haven't been given an answer where they're like, what would you cash in on? I'm going to cash in on the Celtics and I'm going to buy the company. I'm going to buy the whole team.
Being able to raise another banner. Carmelo, thank you so much for the time.
Appreciate you.